In today's video, I'm going to go through a March 2025 in review for our main info and coaching business. I'm going to go through our year-over-year cash collected numbers for the month of March, what went right this month, what did not go right, some funnel metrics and math, and then into our April 2025 plan for the company as well as some personal. All right. So last year we did 30 million in cash collected. I make everything on this channel just to share what did work, what did not work, as you're about to see, what we are actively doing to scale to 100 million a year. All right. I do all of this to find top talent, opportunities, and build a solid network of people doing the same. So let's get into it. All right. So this is all just no fluff, actual numbers. So for March of 2022, we did about 600K. In 2023, we did about 750. Last year, we did 2.7. And this year, just last month, it's 7 a.m. on the 1st. So this is literally as of yesterday, about 1.6. So not good, right? That's like trending about half of what we trended last year. So let's get into what went right, what went wrong, and then I'll explain kind of our thinking behind this. So what went right? We had a new CMO come in on the tail end of the month, same with an outbound director. So we've never had a CMO in the company. We've always done it ourselves. So the other co-founder has been leading marketing and sales this entire time, or marketing mainly. Sales, we've had a sales director come in about a year ago, but chief of marketing, absolute sicko in the marketing space or in the info space. So this is extremely exciting. So none of this is really reflective of any of these new people. And more or less, it's like us running it off a cliff, waiting until we had somebody to run it properly because our acquisition has gone crazy. And I'll show you that. Outbound director, we tested setters like a year and a half ago, had somebody on the team that was never quit their other job and was running ours and theirs. So ours wasn't effective, and then found out that they were still working their other jobs. So we just got rid of it and then just never revisited, which is silly of us to do. But now we officially have an outbound director that came on and joined the team. Also, ton of experience in the space. Like our CMO has sold over 100,000 low tickets on a single low ticket. And the outbound director has done up to like 3 million or so in a month in cash collected through setting teams. So two very experienced individuals. Everyone else in the company has more or less grown into their role, at least not on the coaching side. The coaching side, they come in certified and like have all of that. But a lot of the time, the people we're hiring that are in management or kind of like in office, if you want to call it, are learning and getting the experience on the job. And like me is a great example. It's like, these are my highest months. It's not like I've done that somewhere else, come in with the playbook and put it in place. So it's pretty cool to finally have experienced hires who have done the role and can bring the playbook in. So load ticket, we officially launched load ticket on the tail end of this month. I'll show some stats and math around that. Affirm, for the longest time, we were running with different pay plans and different breakdowns of this. We locked in our Affirm to perfectly match the term of the actual product. So this is actually going to be a huge lift because it's going to feed Facebook back with the right people, because we had people doing like way lower monthly options, but like misaligning with terms, and it was just kind of messy. So we cleaned this up. Reviews with coaches. I just sent out a message about this in our team chat, but we just passed over 300 on Trustpilot, like 200 and something. I believe it's 200 or something on Better Business Bureau, which is big for our market. Facebook, Google, all the things. So we went from like 110 or 15 to having over 300 just from doing a coaching push. So basically doing like an incentivized program for the coaches. I have another video on the channel where I talk about getting reviews and growth there, but this is huge for us. Big flywheel. A lot of people look up reviews before they get on a sales call or before they purchase, and it's best to just have as many as possible. Sales team onboarding. I'll go into that and kind of like what went wrong and break down, but we've been having issues with sales team performance, and that's also a marketing issue, right? Those are always kind of like in tandem, but we just have some issues there, right? Like no direct income goals, incentivizing, or kind of like conversations around, like I said, income goals, metrics they need to hit. So if your goal is 10K a month, how many calls do you need to do? How many do you need to close? What's your average close? What's your follow-up? Like just that wasn't clean for a lot of the team. And that's just a long-term thing that's happened. Management, getting more one-to-one with them. We've had pods and having to take away the pods so they could have better one-to-one connection. But all of that, I'll get more into that later. Q2 planning, I did a video on this on what our plan was and how we went through it and the actual structure of it, and it went fantastic. So again, these two guys are the first time that they were on this, because we've done this in the past. We do annual planning, we do things, and they're kind of loftier, or I don't know if lofty is the right word, but they're kind of more vague and lofty, I guess. And this was a real actionable, like proper quarterly goals per person that align with departments that break out to the company overall goals. And this went really, really well. And again, these two, this is the first time they were in this meeting because they just joined the company. And then also the retention team is another piece in here. So we've never had a dedicated team. We've always just aligned it with the coaches and basically just given them commission percentages on the people that they retain. Good and bad, because they just kind of want to coach. They don't want to also sell. So we rolled out a retention team that was the pod leaders that we took from sales that wanted to do retention. So how they can keep them. So there's more to come with this, but just the initial launch of this is a win. We're going to do things with like continuity down sells almost, that to keep people after their first year, stuff like that. SendBlue, another video on here, but we doubled our response rates on our app notebook sequence, all by just sending blue bubbles instead of green. So this is a pretty cool thing. We got to figure out how to roll this out in other places. SEO, another just kind of like thing that got done. We finally hired an SEO company because we got the site redone in January. And yeah, so they have boosted a ton of things and grown in that way, fixing a ton of technical errors that came in because we built for design, not for SEO, and we're going back to that. And then triage, we changed out some stuff. This for us is our call confirmation team. So that basically is just like dialing people as soon as they book and making sure and confirming the call. They have the highest percentages they've ever had on terms of claimed calls. And now into what went wrong in the reel of this. So like I said here, that's not good. Right. So all these things are good. All these things are good into the future. But in terms of like cash collected, not good at all on the month. And mainly what went wrong, or just kind of overall, show rates dropped to sub 50% for the first time in like a long time. So a lot of things changed a lot. We changed the entire sequence around it. We changed a bunch of stuff in marketing, which is likely a big cause of it. We changed how the confirmation team was reaching out. We basically threw a ton of stuff at it, which is not the answer necessarily, but we did. And they have dipped. They have kind of come back a bit, and we're still trying to solve for this. But show rates dipped. So if we dip 10% on 1,000 calls, then 100 of those didn't show. And if you have a 20% close, like you just missed out on 20 units, right? Quick math. And that was across the entire month, which is like not cool. So we broke automations. We changed things. It was just a mess. Sales per booking. This is going to be This is going to be marketing. This is going to be show rates. This is going to be close rates, right? It was terrible. It was the lowest month we've had in like a year and a half. So calendars were 75% booked. I have some data over here, so don't mind me. But yeah, calendars were like 75% booked, and we had the lowest rate since December of 23, I want to say. Yeah, December of 23 on the lowest sales per booking, which is like crazy. So we use this metric a lot, and it's just overall bookings to overall sales. And there's a lot of other ones like show rate, live of qualified, like all these different ones. And the sales team is doing like okay. So it's really like a mix between marketing and sales that happened an issue. And then due to that, CPA went wild. So we have a new CMO coming in, changing things on that. We're testing low ticket. We're doing setters. We're doing all these different things to affect CPA. But this last month, like just if you look at the month as is, not on what we're going to do, just on what happened, it was bad. Like bad. So we broke even, lost money within that month due to that. Okay. So going into the actual funnel metrics and math, I have different videos where I go through the actual funnel, but quick gist of it. You have paid traffic. We do have organic. The organic is mainly going to come in through the application because that's what the CTA is on site and on a lot of the organic. But for paid, we're going to run traffic to an opt-in page that's first name, email, to a VSL funnel. And then we're also now running paid direct to a low ticket. Okay. So for this, I'm going to go through the metrics and the math around here. But for opt-ins, we had 30,000 leads come in. So first name, email, and then they watch the VSL, tons of email follow-up, tons of things in there. Then they land on an application page. Once they land on the application page, technically this router's over here, but what I mean by this is from the application, we have a routing set up that's really actually just two-way. So it's basically if they say that they have less than 1K they've ever invested in their health and fitness, it will send them down to this router. If they have anything above that, it'll send them up to the main booking page with the main closers. So we had 3,500 qualified apps, meaning above the 1K. And we had 3,345 that were DQ'd. So I'll get into where they route on here. But of the ones that booked, or of the ones, that applied that were higher quality, 1,800 of them booked a call that were designated as qualified bookings. And these are going to go to the top closers. And these are people who have spent 20K in their health and fitness, 5K, like these bigger numbers. So 1,800 of those calls. 3,345 hit our router. And what I mean by this is depending on how much availability we have on the next day, because our main goals for the sales at least is to keep the sales team full. So of those 3,345 that hit less than 1K, depending on the day, are either going to go to a DQ booking that's not going to fire the pixel and is going to go to lower quality / onboarding reps. If there's availability, it'll go to those. If there is not, or the availability, or there's lesser availability, it's going to just knock them straight to a DQ low ticket page. So they're not going to be able to book. They're not going to be able to go through anything. And then it's going to push them over here to the low ticket, right? Same low ticket that we're running direct paid traffic to. So of those 3,345, I don't have the exact numbers real quick off how many landed on the DQ page versus the bridge page. I could find it, but it's just not really super relevant for this. And 1,053 made it through on the booking of the DQ. Okay. So on right there, we've got about 2,800 calls. Yeah, it's 2,900 calls that happened over the month. All right. Now, low ticket. They are coming in through paid, and they're also coming in as this DQ bridge. Okay. Now, the actual paid properly started halfway to like last third of the month. So these numbers are just kind of, it's more so about the percentages than the total volume because we were not actively running this and it was coming through low ticket, which had different conversion percentages. So for the low ticket checkout, so of this, we had 1,000 of them that opted in. It's a 2-step low ticket. So it's first name, email, and then going into phone. 561 of them purchased. So you've got whatever that is, around 55%, call it, of a conversion rate of the checkout page. So we had 561 that purchased. And then of that, we have 73 that booked a call with a setter. Now, those 73 came from like the last 150 of these purchases because this didn't even exist until less than a week ago, right? So the play here is low ticket direct as well as DQ full and pushing them through to checkout, then purchase, then they're in the community, they're in the product, they're doing that, and then pushing them to book a call with a setter. Okay. And now we only have 2 dedicated setters who do this. We just added the second one 4 days ago. We added the first one. So these are flying in. And then the percentage, and I can give math once this actually like fleshes out. But so far, these have insane show rates, then set rates, and then live call with closer show rates, and then backed out close rate. We already have like 3 units, I think, that have come from this. And then from the main funnel where they pick up people on setters, we have another 2, I think, units so far. So like in a week, we've closed like 4 or 5 units. And yeah, so now backing out to the actual terms and purchases, 188, terrible, so bad. Like when we were cranking, it was like double that and not good. So again, that's that sales per booking number because based on all this amount of calls, we've only had this. Now our our show rates between cancels and no shows, it was bad. And that then directly affects how many live calls they are, so how many they close. Okay, so that's a marketing and sales thing. We're messing with marketing throughout the entire month, optimizing for different events and trying to play with things. Now we have a new CMO in, great media buyers, guys who have done it, run the playbook. So they're running low ticket and rebuilding the entire thing. We're essentially like ground up building this. So ground up with 110 employees while existing. But like, yeah, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle. So 188 was the new units. Target is 400 plus. Okay. Now going into April 2025, the plan on this low ticket expansion. So as of now, we sell one thing on the low ticket. So it's one AOV, one fix, and it is $37, I believe, right now. And so expansion on that. So low ticket overall, this is technically in a 3-way split. So just off the baseline, we're trying to set a baseline of what the front end sales page conversion is, what the checkout page conversion is, the booking, what percentage of those go down the funnel to then purchase, book a call with a setter, fill out the app, then how many make it to a closer, then how many close from that, show rates. Like I need that full picture of math before we lean into any particular bucket. But one of the things we can do is just slowly increase things from the front to back. So our CMO talks about this like front to back, like we're solving for that as we go. And then I'm just trying to get data baselines as we go across. Expansion around that is right now we don't want to optimize for AOV through OTOs, but we can through an order bump. We can through these other ways. So even just doing that, we can offset because right now I'll call it, I don't want to give wrong numbers, but like call it 60% maybe that we're doing liquidation right now on the front. So call $30 net CPA, back that in. The whole goal being, can we get people on the phone with the closer for $100 that close at higher than standard rates, and then all of a sudden be at a sub 1,000 CPA, which is like a third of where we're at right now, based on all this terrible math coming through the VSL, bloated spend, just bad, right? So low ticket expansion, setters, Same thing here, optimizing around these flows. Right now, they are hitting the app no book. So people who fall off between these, so the 3,500 and 1,800, main focus on these, not the DQ ones. So of those, whatever, I can't even do that math real quick, but whatever, 1,500-ish, I don't know. Of the 1,500-ish, 1,700-ish, they then hit those up and call them. Right now we have an AI bot that does that, but that's inclusive of already what's in here. So they're already doing the recapture and only getting to this percentage. So having a call team that does that is where they're at here, and then also on these low tickets. But we have cancel no-shows. We have custom booking request forms. We just have like 19 different places they can hit up people. So the goal here is to scale this team to call it probably 10 throughout the month. Right now we're at like 3 or 4. Opt-in, we're doing new page dev stuff. CMO is, there sees a huge lift on what we're doing with the opt-in page. We've ran basically the same opt-in page for like 4 or 5 years, and we've never properly tested it or had proper testing methods, and that's both on me from tracking and marketing on not launching anything new, and it just has been what it's been. So new opt-ins are being built overall, Facebook and Google, for both low ticket and the VSL main funnel. So like I said, we're like from the ground up rebuilding this thing like heavily. So trying to keep everything baseline with metrics and not like launch new, because we don't want to do that necessarily yet. But figuring out these numbers and then also properly launching them all on Google. We have a really good Google media buyer that just came on. Sales team, we are onboarding and ramping new and doing it in a way that is kind of a different approach, right? It's a little bit more like, I don't want to say aggressive, but like harder and more financially motivated, very focused around, if you want to make 20K a month, which has been done in our company. We had sales reps who made 350, 400, whatever before. I mean, last year we had someone who did, I think, 320. And in the past, we've had someone who made 400 in years prior. So like the opportunity's there. So what's the math behind that? If you want to make 20K a month, how many calls do you need? 80 availabilities. Of those 80, 50 are going to show. Of those, how many you close? And like doing that in a way that where there's the boards for compensation or for not motivation. You know what I mean? So where there's boards to incentivize them properly and give them clarity around numbers and competitions and all that. So we're doing a new sales round of hiring. How that may change is depending on how we do DQ. So if we full DQ, which is what we're talking about doing, where it just goes all into low ticket, then you would be in a position where the actual quality bookings that hit the calendar, or the actual just overall count, would be like 40% less, right? If this is around 40% of the bookings. But then you have an uplift now that would come from the setters. So you have setters and the quality engine here that would increase that. And then you also now have setters that would come from low ticket, or set calls that would come from low ticket. So it likely would even out and just have higher quality on the calendar. Haven't fully decided that yet, but very likely what will happen. And then we have to back into how many sales reps we need for that, and then at scale. Retention team, I talked about this, that we rolled it out, but we haven't fully rolled out tracking and like funnel steps because I want to set up like full pipelines. So when someone is 60 days out from retention, they get a, reach out to them. Basically, what happens on the reach out? Did they want to schedule a call? Did they call schedule, then no show, cancel? Did they not want to talk on the phone? Like, what are the outcomes of that? And where's the current situation of the team? Because these guys are sales reps, and they have been, but they just have like a ton of empathy, and they love the product and they're into it. So them in retention is amazing. It's just, how do we get the right people to be doing that actual job, and how do I give them the system around it to do it? And then what's the offer they can pitch, which is huge, because right now they're just pitching staying for another year, which is like 1K less. Department level KPIs, this is on me. So tracking, dashboarding, agendaing all the different departments. We have this at some level, but they kind of all run on their own already, and I just want to clean it up so it's all in one way. And then brand faces, we have multiple brand faces that we've launched, but we just need to like roll them out more aggressively and just continue to scale into them and get better stats around it, because we have not been backing out on units very well, which is like obviously the key here. It's been very difficult to see what brand faces work or don't in terms of like actual dollars per ad or whatever you want to call it, versus cost per call, cost per whatever, which is already good on these new brand faces. So that would say it would work. But yeah, so all of this is just to say a lot of the marketing ops, this is like the part that I know and I'm, functioning on. There is 15 other things that are happening in fulfillment and sales and organic and all these other parts of the company where they are crushing it, as well as having obviously some shortcomings too. But yeah, this is not meant to be a reflection of them not doing anything. It's just meant to be me talking about the parts I know and can accurately give insights on. But yeah, the rest of the company is just crushing it. We just need to help and fix acquisition so that the rest of the company can thrive with inflow of new clients. So personal, just a fun one. If you don't care about this, you can pop now. 19 videos on YouTube, 185 YouTube subs, woohoo, 30 DMs from that, which is like, this is kind of the goal, right? Is like build a network around these of other high quality people. So I've had a ton of people DM 30 something, let's call it. I think it's even higher than that now, but talking about their businesses, sharing their numbers, guys who are doing 1.5, guys who are doing 300K a month, like all these different stuff, which I love because then I get to see different funnels. I get to talk about it. I have some perspective, but this whole thing is like no ego. Our way clearly is breaking even and not making money this month. So like listen to who you want to, but that finished one-on-one in-person coaching. I've never had an in-person coach before, and I did this year for like the last 6 months maybe, and very odd for me because I do everything digital. So going in person, I finished that up finally. It was like 6 months, and this was like a business / like life coach, you could call it. One-on-one personal training. I'm a huge believer in we do what we do, others do, right? Energy is energy out. So I wanted to pay for personal training, pay like 10 G's for personal training because that's what people pay us. I did it. It was good. But again, in person, not my jam. Fixed schedule on someone else's calendar, like just not really my jam. So did it, all good. Fuel, this is just funny one, just meal planning, all these other things that just come direct to the door. So I literally don't have to leave this desk. Terrible planning. March, I did a terrible job of setting the calendar and intention and like what I'm going to do. If it makes the calendar, it gets done. And like, I didn't even put things on the calendar. So I need to fix that. And then Puerto Rico stuff, I can make a whole video on this, but I lived in Puerto Rico for the last 3 years and had, 4% tax and did that whole jam and ended up moving out of there. But like I'm closing everything out and finalizing it. So this is kind of just my reminder to yourself that March, I 99% of the way closed it out and for like the tax year and stuff like that. And plan into April. Daily posts, going to continue on with these videos of daily posts. I don't have outcome goals because I don't know the trajectory of this. I don't know if it's consistent, like linear, or if it's more exponential. I don't know the answer to that, but like the input is a daily post. New biz coach. I have this sicko guy that is really well known in the space and like lead gen and affiliate specific that I have worked with in the past when I was in a worse place in life, maybe where I couldn't actually like effectively execute on what we would talk about. But now I feel like I'm in a good place. So I am starting up with him, completely remote, new gym, pick up heavy shit. And that's kind of fun for me because I can go whenever I want. And like, this is the only things I do. I work out, I eat, and I hang out with my friend's family girlfriend. Like that's about it. Like, so new gym is exciting. New paid group. I can talk about more on this in another video, but essentially in a group of other people doing this. So sharing content, scaling info businesses, and yeah. And then planning tomorrow today, back to this terrible planning. The goal is to start planning in a proper way because if it hits the calendar, I get it done. All right. So probably don't care about the personal part, but fun metrics. So yeah. Follow me on here, follow me on Instagram for communications, subscribe for YouTube, and DM any comments, anything. I don't care. Just let me know what you want to hear or find in the company, and let me know. Talk soon. Bye.